in Libelium. It's a Spanish company, and we do wireless sensors. So all the technology that we were listening that it's able to predict and to know more about the real world, the outside, the things that are happening, we work on this. So what we do are the devices needed to get information from the outside. We call sensor devices, and basically is what you can see there. There are tiny sensors, and all that you see there is sensor, is battery, and it's also radio communications to get information to the cloud in real time. Obviously, this is the core intelligence that is into the sensor units, but obviously when you deploy on the field, you look something like that. The solar panel, sensors outside, but the core thing that you see what is into is the small device. Applications of sensors are, I would say, countless. We are using this technology to monitor many things in the real world, like smart cities, quality of water, radiation in factories. We are using for security, parking, environmental networks. So the applications are just, it's thousands and thousands of different applications that are possible. So this is our ambition of what is sensing our real world placement sensors. But today, our clients are making hundreds and hundreds of different applications using our technology. The good thing is that we develop a core platform, and then we add sensors, and with these sensors we can do different things, from using to get information from vineyards, or placing in factories or in rivers to know if the water is polluted, or in the case of today, to get information about the nature and the countryside and the field. The real world is not the city, but also the outside, the harsh environment, to predict the bad things that can really happen when things are not doing properly. So basically, one of the first projects that our clients were doing was to predict and detect forest fires. And this is in Spain, it's a real minor problem nowadays. It's a really dry country. So we came with the solution of placing on the trees small sensors with battery, with solar panels and batteries that can monitor small variations of the gas concentrations. So we can create two interesting things here. We can really detect CO levels when the CO levels rise up and detect forest fires, but at the same time we can predict what are the main areas that would be more feasible to be into a forest fire problem during the summer, looking humidity, temperature, and making some algorithms to calculate what are the more probabilistic areas to be in danger. This is the technology on top of our Wasmo platform, the sensor platform that we developed, and these are gas sensors. And the part here, which is with sometimes deploy sensors, is like a really easy thing. You can find Chinese sensors for many and really cheap, but in this case we are talking about really accurate technology. We are always talking about sensors calibrated that need to monitor differences of parts per million. To get that, we have to calibrate any of the sensors that we then place on the trees outside. Obviously, this is the product that it is installed on the trees. The other is the core technology that is under that. But all these things are happening right now. This technology, this is not something from the future. It's something that is currently being used in real projects. I will try to speed up because I think that there are many interesting applications, and I just have like 10 minutes. So sorry if I go a little quick, and later I will try to explain that face-to-face if you want to know more about any of these applications. One of the things that we are also predicting and trying to understand are the floodings from rivers. So we are also, some of our customers are working in placing sensors in top of the bridges in the rivers so that we can know in real time which is the level of water, but not in one point. Imagine in all the rivers that go to a main one. So you can have like 100 different levels and know how organically this water is rising from one mountain to the other, what is going to be the provision in the final river. And this is the interesting thing, is to multiply by hundreds and thousands the points that you can really measure the level. this will be the machine that allows. I don't have to mention this kind of problem because when we set up the talk, it was before that the Marianas problems happened, and after that, people from the organization told me, wow, you have to talk about that. And obviously, the slides were already there. And in this case, it's one of the most difficult to predict. But we were working in we have already some research projects with universities before all of these things happen. And one of the things that we are helping them are with two types of sensors. On the one time, this is the green sensor that you see that it has this long wire. It's called soil moisture sensors and allows you to know exactly how much water is in every layer of the soil. So you can know if water is being poured and it's going down, or is it still into the soil. So you can predict not only if there is how much would be the overall weight, the weight of this soil that is close to a mountain or can be just falling into the mountain. Another thing, these are some stations that we already places with the technology, and obviously one of the most important sensors that we are currently using in the research to know how the landslides and the mudslides evolve, what we call the linear displacement sensor. We used it previously in bridges to know the dilatation of bridges, which is quite also a problem, but the idea is to monitor small, tiny variations in the concrete and obviously on the field that cannot be measured easily by humans. So this type of sensors that we call linear displacement, we are able to monitor 1,000 the times of a millimeter, 1 micra, and we can see how cracks evolve or how two different points into the field are moving. So we can predict that in some parts, this moisture, these big areas are kind of evolve and moving. So this is some technologies on research, but definitely is going to be one of the possible solutions for things like happening Marianas. All the things that we have been doing is the avalanche prevention, and basically is measuring how and the key points of mountains. This is not a problem here, obviously, but in Europe there are like many places where people go to the skiing, and then they are facing many problems with avalanche. They go everywhere. So we are placing these stations that can know the snow levels and how this snow, what type of snow we have, if it is like hard snow or soft snow, or how the wind is affecting that, and if it is raining. So we monitor all these things, and we can predict if there is a risk of a real avalanche on the field. This is some of the stations that are using this or technology and other technology from other third parties. It's quite interesting, definitely. Other things is in cities. We have also in US a project with these snow levels for security in the streets. It's like we have the sensors on the street lamps, and we know in real time in any of the streets which is the level, so that we can give accurate routes for the cars and to avoid these like full of snow streets, to avoid traffic jams and accidents at the end. Or rivers, what can I say? You have one now is the biggest river in the world, one of the most marvels of the world, and obviously we always want to predict and detect easily when these things are happening, the pouring, wasting into the river and pouring chemicals. So one of the last things that we are researching is how to use water sensors, water quality sensors, to monitor in real time in hundreds and hundreds of different points of the river, which is the water quality. So we can know exactly when a company is wasting chemicals on the river and not exactly in what kilometer it is. It's not saying this part of 500 kilometers is contaminated. It's going exactly to the point where this problem is happening. We have some tests even in I would say Amazonian aquariums with piranhas and anacondas. In Spain, we have like a big aquarium, and we tested this technology, placing the sensor probes on this type of water. So it's the perfect example for a river like Amazonas. also for the smart environment with other species like snakes and monitoring the quality of the air, temperature, and the gas levels that are suitable for these animals to be living. We have also in this line predicting when volcano eruptions using gas concentrations. For example, we can measure the SO2 levels, small, tiny variations, parts per million variations, and predict if this is possible with an accuracy of more than, I will say, 60%, that something may occur and alert the populations. Because sometimes there is some correlation between the levels of SO2 gases and the possibility of a possible eruption. Obviously, natural disasters are related also to industrial disasters, water pouring, and also radiation. We develop a small device that is not obviously inside these nuclear plants. They have many meters that allows them to monitor what is happening inside the plant. But we develop something autonomous that is placed surrounding the plant, in the rivers, in the forest, in the village where people are going. So this small device, we are placing just with batteries, and it allows to know what are the radiation levels on the field outside the plant, and to really know if not only is a problem into, but if they are pouring or wasting radiation components outside the plant. So it's quite interesting, and we were already testing this in Japan after the Fukushima accident happened. Environmental aspects, we in the stems, air quality, also monitoring dust concentrations in city crowded like Sao Paulo or Rio. We want to, and we have many people interested in getting this type of technology to know what is the quality of the air that we are breathing. So it's quite interesting too. And one of the interesting projects that one of our clients made was like to measure what is the quality of a field, not but measuring the field, but measuring the life of the bees. So they placed all sensors inside the bee panels and see how they are evolving with the air quality is bad, if there is pollution, if this is not clear air, how the bees are behaving, because bees are like sensors, natural sensors. So we also try to understand and try to calibrate those sensors based on the variation of the behavior of the bees. Quite amazing project done by the Cork University in UK. And just two more things to finish my talk. So it's many concepts, but a few time. And the future of sensors, you see these big boxes that are placed outside, but we are also working on the next generation. These will be kind of the new smartphone compatible sensors that will be helping us to monitor the real life, that place this sensor at home, take in the pocket, and monitor things like, for example, radiation. Imagine here in Rio, the ultraviolet radiation is really strong, and you can, depending on the type of skin, it can harm you easily. So we are developing small sensors that you can have with your own in your pocket and just take it out, and they can tell you, with this ultraviolet radiation, you can be outside with a protection like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on the types of skin that you have. So these are sensors that we will be using. These are coming in the next year, but this is something that we want to see, is how people will interact with sensors, not only companies. And the last thing I want to mention is a collaborative project that we will be launching. It's about a medical product that will be 100 times cheaper than the professional medical products. And the idea is to monitor with just one device more than 15 different biometrical parameters. And this is something that we want to make it collaborative. So this is a call, if you are interested in being part of this study, is to creating this medical device like really cheap for persons and developing worlds and people who cannot really afford to get a mini hospital. I mean, I'm talking about municipalities or even hospitals in developing countries. We will be launching this project next year, and I will be happy to explain more about that if you want to know. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you later.
Thank you, David.